To properly remove an O-ring, you're going to need your pick, your bolt assembly. You want to take the pick. You want to make sure that the pick goes in between the O-ring and the groove. You don't want to stab into the O-ring, so make sure you go between the groove that the O-ring sits in and the O-ring itself, so you can pull the O-ring off. When you go to put an O-ring back on, you can take the O-ring, set it into the groove, and use your thumb to hold the O-ring on. Take your other thumb, just push down, and work your way around to put the O-ring back in the groove. So here we have the power core, or bolt assembly, out of a DLX LUXE. I'm going to show you how it works today. So basically the bolt, it breaks down into 3 pieces. So I'm going to screw it here. You're going to have your bolt guide, the bolt itself, and the firing can. This is the bolt out of the DLX LUXE. It has 2 O-rings on it. The back O-ring, which is going to be a 1670 urethane O-ring, is called the sail O-ring. Basically with that O-ring, air is directed to one side or the other to move the bolt back and forth. The front O-ring you see here, which is a 1590 urethane O-ring, is a bumper O-ring. Basically that O-ring is just used to reduce metal on metal contact in the gun. So if you do see any flaking from the O-ring or anything, you will want to replace the O-ring, as those pieces can get into your solenoid and make your solenoid leak. So those are the 2 O-rings on the bolt. This is the firing can of the DLX LUXE. It's going to have 7 O-rings. 4 on the outside, which are going to be 2070 urethane O-rings, and 3 on the inside. 1 on the very front here, and luckily I have a cut-up firing can here to show you the 2 on the inside. Now normally, the front 2 of these 3 O-rings are going to be urethane 1770 O-rings for here, and the one that sits below in that groove. The farthest back one can either be a 1770 urethane or the 1770 green O-rings everyone's been seeing. Now on the green ones, Daryl thinks they'll give you a little bit better performance, but they're not going to last as long. You have to lube your gun a little bit more. Whereas the 1770 O-rings are what all the techs are going to recommend, because they do last a little bit longer. So that's what we got for the firing can. This is the bolt guide out of the DLX LUXE. Most people don't know, but you can actually separate the bolt guide itself from the rear lift cap. Just by taking it, I put an Allen wrench through it to give you a little torque to break it loose. You can remove those pieces. I'll go over each of these pieces here in just a sec. On the bolt guide itself, you're going to have 4 O-rings. You're going to have 2 1370 O-rings. They're going to be urethane. The front one here can actually cause a leak down the barrel. You're going to have 2 more O-rings on the back of the guide itself. You're going to have a 1470 urethane O-ring here. It's not in a groove or anything, it's just a bumper. So if you do see any flaking or anything, you want to replace that. And then the farthest back is going to be a 1590 urethane O-ring. On the rear lift cap here, on the inside you're going to have a 1770 O-ring. Go ahead and pop that out for you here. Now the easiest way I've found to put this back in is taking this kind of pinch the O-ring, put your thumb a little bit over the groove there, so you can slide it into the groove like so. Just take and use your other thumb to push the rest of the way in the groove. Now to get the back lift cap off, you want to take your Allen wrench, and you can see there's a screw here. You want to break that loose and take it off. Once you have the screw removed, you can get to the actual lift cap here. Go ahead and take your pick. And you're going to have a 1670 urethane O-ring acting kind of as a spring to pull the cap back down. Go ahead and pop that off. Grab your Allen wrench, which is going to be a 1/16. There's one set screw here. Not the farthest back one, that's actually what holds the lever here on. There's another one that holds the pin inside. You can go ahead and remove that. Bolt. At that point your lift cap will flip all the way around and you can get to this piece here. Now, basically you have 2 2.5 millimeter O-rings here. Those are actually what's going to happen is when you lift your lift cap, moving that is going to allow the air to vent from the marker. When the cap's sitting down, it's going to keep the air in the gun. So, what you want to do from here is basically reverse. Just take this, set it down, inside, take your lift cap, put it up there. And you're going to want to line up the hole between this rear pin and your lift cap. Twist it a little bit here. Then you'll take the pin you removed, drop it into